Hello! Welcome to the What is Sex Offender Probation Supervision and Treatment DVD. The primary purpose of this DVD is to provide you with information about your rights as a crime victim and about sex offender supervision. Two of the most important rights you have under the Colorado Victim Rights Act involve notification and the right to be heard. Specifically, when you opt in to the Victim Notification Program, you will be notified whenever there is a critical stage in the criminal justice process. For example, while the defendant is on probation, you would be notified if and when the defendant requests a reduction in the amount of time he or she will serve on probation, requests to move or travel to a different district or state, has a summons or warrant issued for his or her arrest. For more information on other critical stages, please refer to the Colorado Probation Victim Notification Program brochure that was sent or given to you with the initial correspondence from your local probation department. Your rights are not limited to notification, however. Whenever an offender goes to court, you have the right to be heard. As a victim, you can make a statement to the court whenever a hearing is held regarding any of the status changes previously mentioned. You can make a statement in person or in writing. It's your choice. In fact, from this point forward, the amount of involvement you have with the process is entirely up to you. Victim Services recognizes that individuals work through their issues in different ways and at different rates. Please know that we are here to assist you through this process to the best of our ability. The second objective of this DVD is to describe what happens when a defendant is placed on probation for a sex offense, including treatment, polygraphs, and the clarification process. Thank you in advance for watching the video. If you have any questions at any time, please don't hesitate to call your local probation office and ask for the Victim Services Officer. You can also call the Office for Victim Programs at the Division of Criminal Justice at 303-239-5719 or toll free at 1-888-282-1080. Victim Services. As the victim of a crime that falls under the Colorado Victim Rights Amendment, or VRA, there are a number of services available to you. Some of the services are provided by the state, while others are offered by private organizations. In this section, we'll discuss the steps you can take to access these services, including victim opt-in notification, or VNOT, victim compensation, referrals to counseling, support groups, and other community agencies. At this point in time, you may already be familiar with your opt-in rights under the VRA. To be notified of the critical status stages while the defendant is on probation, all you have to do is fill out this request form identifying the case and your contact information. If you don't have a copy of this form, please contact your local probation department and one will be sent to you. Another potential option for victims of crime is the Victim Compensation Fund, which may be available to assist you with expenses you incurred because of the crime. Compensation that is available for victims may include, but is not limited to, doctor, dentist, or hospital bills, physical therapy, mental health counseling. If your home was broken into as part of the crime, victim compensation might be available to assist you with the replacement of doors, locks, or windows. If you have suffered any of these expenses, please contact your Victim Services Officer as soon as possible. There are time limits for making a compensation request, and because of the high demand for funds, there are limits on the amount of compensation you can receive. What is probation? In general, the primary objective of every probation department is to help protect the victim and community from future violence. We do that by monitoring the offender's actions in the community. We also work with offenders to make sure they are accountable and taking the steps necessary to be successful in their treatment program. There are also a few different levels of probation supervision for sex offenders, and they can move up or down through the supervision levels depending on their level of compliance. For example, some may require more intensive supervision in the beginning, and as they progress through treatment and display accountability, they may be moved to a lower supervision level. Of course, every offender is different. Some offenders require a higher level of supervision with limitations on where they can live, who they can see, or activities they may pursue. Others may earn more privileges, typically in the later stages of the treatment process. The probation officer's job is to ensure that the offender complies with the orders of the court. Most sex offenders are required to undergo intensive, offense-specific treatment monitored by their supervision team. In most cases, offenders will be required to attend offense-specific treatment sessions throughout the entire length of probation. They may also be required to attend other counseling sessions, such as substance abuse or mental health counseling. So what steps do we take to supervise sex offenders? Simply put, we don't take their word for it that they are getting better. Most offenders are required to submit to regular polygraph exams, which promotes honesty and accountability. Not all of our meetings are held in the office. Probation officers will meet with the offender in a variety of locations, at an office, home, or place of employment. Home visits are conducted randomly and can occur at night, weekends, and holidays. In other words, at times when the offender does not expect to see a probation officer. Probation has the authority to utilize incentives and sanctions to motivate offenders to take accountability. Not every violation will result in a revocation and return to court. We make every effort to keep them in compliance and complete the requirements set forth. Probation's primary concern is victim and community safety. If you have specific questions or concerns related to a potential probation violation, please don't hesitate to contact your district's probation department and ask for assistance from the victim service officer. If you feel the matter is urgent pertaining to community safety or is a law violation, please contact local law enforcement. Approved treatment. In this section, we would like to explain a little about what the offender will do in treatment and how supervision teams work together to improve community safety. When offenders enter into treatment, the goal is to have them accept responsibility for their sexually abusive or inappropriate sexual behavior. In collaboration, the treatment provider, probation officer, and polygraph examiner work toward getting offenders to admit to the details of their offense. The offender will attend group and individual sessions regularly with his or her treatment provider. Having an offender accept responsibility may take weeks, and in some cases, it may take months. In general, individuals are given up to 3 months to accept responsibility for their actions. If offenders are still in denial after 3 months, they can be discharged unsuccessfully from treatment, returned to court, and their probation may be revoked. Another goal of holding offenders accountable is identifying additional victims. Research shows that many offenders have additional victims for incidents that were never reported. During treatment, the supervision team will attempt to identify any victims by obtaining a detailed sexual history from the offender, then confirming that history through polygraphs. After the offender submits a sexual history, the supervision team will provide the offender with strategies on how to manage the offender's thoughts and feelings, whether the problem is anger, depression, deviant thoughts, or something else. Safety planning also plays a large role in protecting the community and holding offenders accountable for their behavior. Offenders are not allowed to have contact with children under the age of 18 until the offender has met certain criteria and all supervision team members agree the offender has reached the point in treatment where contact may be safe. This typically involves many small, supervised steps. For example, the supervision team might require a family member who has received training to chaperone or supervise the offender at family functions. As offenders progress, they may earn additional privileges. Treatment is a process and is conducted in stages. Offenders can progress or regress in different increments depending on the offender's history, level of accountability, and effort. Polygraph. I'd like to talk to you a few minutes about the use of the polygraph with convicted sex offenders, why, and how we use it. The use of the polygraph in treatment, probation, and parole has been going on in the United States since the mid-1970s. In Colorado, we started doing sex offender polygraphs in 1989, and we've been conducting them ever since. It is a very useful tool to gather information from those sentenced to probation for a sex offense. Many sex offenders keep secrets about their dangerous and abusive lifestyles. The use of the polygraph helps the supervision team set an expectation of honesty and complete disclosure to assist with victim and community safety. Information that would not normally be coming forth from the offenders through polygraph exams. That information could be from their sex history to current behavior or recent behavior while on probation. Information gathering is a very useful aspect of the polygraph. Other benefits of polygraph testing include improved decision-making by the supervision team, deterrence of problem behavior, and access to information that might not otherwise be obtained. Polygraph testing can also assist the supervision team with ensuring the proper placement for treatment. Not all sex offenders are the same. A juvenile offender who has one victim probably is going to need a different level of supervision and treatment than an adult offender. One way we find out which type of individual we're monitoring is through the use of the polygraph. Another very useful aspect of the polygraph is helping these individuals reduce their denial. Many times when they enter probation, they're still in denial about their offense or the specific aspects of the offense. The polygraph helps decrease denial within the 3-month time frame. An offender may make disclosures right after the polygraph exam itself. If not, then shortly thereafter by talking with a probation officer or treatment provider. One more thing to keep in mind about the polygraph: it is only one tool to use throughout treatment and in probation. It should never be used in isolation or by itself. It's just one of the tools available for the supervision team that can be used along with psychological tests and other testing done while offenders are in treatment. Clarification. Clarification is a process where the victim and offender can meet. It can start with written contact and then may progress to verbal or face-to-face contact. Should the process proceed to an actual clarification meeting, all contact is victim-centered and based on your needs. During the offender's treatment program, the supervision team will ask him or her to accept full responsibility for the unlawful behavior. The victim clarification process is designed to primarily benefit the victim. This is typically a lengthy process that occurs over time. Your participation is never required. You can ask to be part of the clarification process. You would then have the opportunity to hear this clarification either in a session with the therapist and the perpetrator, or, if you prefer, you can receive it in writing outside of the presence of the offender. During clarification, the offender will explain to you that he or she alone is responsible for his or her behavior. He or she will explain how you had no responsibility for being assaulted, and how he or she is currently taking full responsibility for his or her actions. Your involvement in the clarification process is strictly up to you. It is important that you know this is your choice. Again, you can meet with the offender and have a clarification in person. At your discretion, you can request a written clarification from the offender. You may not want to participate in the clarification process at all. Every person is different, and the choice you make is yours. If you have any questions about clarification or want to discuss the possibilities, please speak with the victim service officer in your area. This video was developed to help empower you and your family by providing information about your rights as a victim. We hope we have provided information that helps you understand probation supervision for offenders. You have the choice about how much you want to be involved in the process, and you may change your mind. If you decide not to be involved at this point, you may contact us later if you want more information or want to be more involved. Probation takes supervision of sex offenders very seriously. We also want to assist crime victims as much as we can. Please feel free to contact your local probation department if you have questions or concerns.